Oh, g'day everyone. We're back for another week of Chewin the Fat with Cap. Hey, I've got a massive lag on my internet from my end tonight, so you have to bear with me if I'm a little bit glitchy. Just make sure you put a few comments in and tell us where you're from. Definitely put your postcodes in for your postcode prize, and let's hear a lot of questions for Beau tonight. Doesn't have to be about the electric series. We are going to talk about the electric series, but you might have seen a theme so far this season that I've been talking specifically about individual tournaments. Write in the comments what you think about that as well, and we'll go from there. So, as I said, massive lag in my internet, so make sure you jump on, put a postcode in, or just jump on and say g'day. I always appreciate the people that jump on and say g'day. That's really cool. Tonight we have Beau Everly on. We're going to talk about all things electric series, but not only that, Beau's a bit of a river rat. So if you've got any questions about the rivers, whether it be the Clarence, whether it be Wilson, we've got an upcoming comp here at the Hunter. I'm sure it'll be all similar to that as well. Looking forward to that. As I said, comment away in the comments. It's always good to get your questions, but if you want to go into the prize pack to win prizes, you need your postcode in there. And we'll go over the postcode prize pack this week is a bit of a gold pack. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 packets of golds. I don't know why I'm giving them away, but 5 packets of golds there. That's just for putting your postcode in. It will be a random a postcode to be drawn in that one. So that's the postcode prize. Later on, everyone knows that Harry draws somebody out at random that has asked a question. We've got another pack here. Values of these packs are well over 50 or 60 bucks. So we've got a Lunker Hunt Spider. We've got some Siebel Blades. We've got another packet of golds in there as well. So, plenty of stuff going on in the background. As I said, big lag on my end from the internet, so I'm hoping it's all working. It's not too glitchy and you can all hear me. We've got heaps of people logging in already. G'day, Colin. G'day, Alion. G'day, Claude. G'day, Harrison. Oh, my dad's on for the first time ever. So that's interesting. Harry is in the comments. If you want to say g'day to Harry, Trent, and we got Luke. So we've got heaps of people on. We've got heaps to talk about. But I do want to get Beau on and have a talk about some stuff. So I'll bring him into the screen and we'll go from there. So make sure that one of my biggest things is I keep not unmuting people. G'day, Beau. How you going?
Good, mate. How are you?
Good. Did you get much sleep earlier in the week? I mean, you were out doing tournaments and running tournaments, and the Bassmaster Classic was on. Did you get to follow much of the Bassmaster Classic?
Yeah, I watched a bit of it. There wasn't much sleep going on, and then there was a few early starts. It was good fun, but it was great. It was a great weekend, full of fishing, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So I've just done the full thing, got up, watched, supported Carl. It was awesome to see Carl as the first Australian to qualify for the Bassmaster Classic. But not only that, was to see the ABT crew go over there. Not only the ABT crew, all the Toowoomba crew went over. They kept saying 50. I'm sure there was more than 50 people over there from Australia supporting Carl. And the Aussie crawl. I see Carl talk to one of the guys on the stage to actually do a shoey, which was really awesome. And we had really our Barra Tour last year, Carl and Jeff Gustafson, known as Gussie, the great white snow leopard, as they call him, come out to Australia, fished the Barra rounds last year, and Gussie went on to win it. So that was really cool. There was a bit of an Australian connection there as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I did hear a couple of times throughout podcasts that Gussie talked about how cool the Australians are really dialed in these electronics. And he went home learning a lot. So that was really cool as well. Did you get to watch the final, or did you have to go back and watch it actually, later on after you'd finished your comps?
No, I had to go back and watch it later during the comps. That you're the rule is you're not allowed to use your phones in there. And even though it was an emergency in some people's eyes to see what was happening, no. So no, I watched it after the comp. So yeah, no, it was good.
Now, the reason I'm sort of going into this is sort of a lead-in, bit of a joke, but there's a guy that does all the stage work over there, Dave Mercer, and he does it all off the top of his head. I heard G-Man had a big speech and saying how good he is at remembering everyone and remembering how everyone goes. You've taken on board through the bluefin fishing team, doing all the compare work and running the Bass Electrics from that side of things. Have you been channeling your own little Dave Mercer?
No, not yet. Not that. Oh, maybe a little bit. Like if that's people I know and I'm familiar with, I might throw something funny in. But no, I'm still trying to learn everyone's names. And if I'm not trying to be respectful of getting your name or remembering your name, I have caught a few people the wrong name. That's been
and it will happen. It will happen.
Yeah.
But you had fairly big fields for the first two events. Yeah, Richmond River, you had over 30. Is that correct?
Yeah, 33 for the Richmond.
Yep. And how many do you have at Clarence?
23, 24 for the Clarence.
Yep. So, and on a weekend when the biggest comp in Australia's on and whatnot, they probably, half of the field was probably in America anyway. So, it was really cool to watch that. But yeah, Dave Mercer, gets up on that stage. He remembers everyone, but not only that, he remembers their stats, what they've won. Really cool stuff going forward with that. So, if I couldn't do it, if you get up on the stage and make a mistake, you feel like a bit of a goose. But I've watched the interviews. You're doing a great job. We had a comment in there. Luke said you're doing a great job. So, that's the way it goes.
Thank you.
All right, let's get into it. So don't forget to ask your questions in here. You can ask Beau pretty much anything you want. We won't answer really personal questions unless Beau wants to, but any questions you want, and you can't win the prize back unless you actually ask a question. That's one. And two, you can't win the postcode prize if you don't put your postcode in. But over the last 2 weeks, the opportunity of over $100 worth of lures has gone begging because we've drawn the postcode at the end of the show and that person's already gone. So as I've said from word go, I'll just keep doubling them up and the prize packs will get bigger, and the next week's postcode that stays on and watches and gets a hold of me will win the double up. So that's the way we're going to roll from here on in.
Nice.
Let's talk Bass Electric series. Now, I've had a few problems in the teething problems going forward early in the year with the program that I used to get all this done, and I finally ironed them all out. I think they're more my problems than the actual program's problems. We've got it going. As you can see, scrolling along the bottom again is all the stuff what you have to do. And second of all, I should be able to share a screen here. And if I get this right, let's just get it this way. Changes around. So look at me go. Just drop you off the screen for a second, Beau, and bring you back. Did I get this right? No, I'm still one short, so I've got to drop me off. Look at me go with me computer skills here.
Right. You're doing well.
I'm just clicking buttons here at the moment. I'll get it onto the half screen so people on their phones can read it. It'd be good. Anyway, we got it to that stage. So we can talk in the background. I'm going to put this on solo so people can see it. So this is the calendar for the Mercury Avatar Bass Electric Series run by ABT. Really cool sort of setup. $20 entry, pro up $20 if you want. Fish one round for the grand final, which is really cool. No pre-fish bans and no membership. So, all you got to do is jump online, fill out your entry form, pay your $20 and you're in. We've done 2 rounds already, Richmond River, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Clarence River last weekend. Upcoming for the Queenslanders, we've got Lake McDonald on the 7th of May. You can see that there. and Hinsdam on the 20th of August. So a couple of good comps there. Obviously, only have to fish one to qualify for the grand final, which is the 7th and 8th of October at Wyaralong. So let's talk about the first 2 rounds while we're waiting for a few questions to come in. Your first one was Richmond River in Lismore. How's it come back after the floods?
Yeah, no, it was it always looks good at Corokai. Like you go there and every spot you travel down the river, it always looks fishy. But there was certain spots that had fish. A couple of boys found them down further the system on blades. Others stayed up close with plastics and frogs. Even jigs played a big part of it. There was fish about, but they weren't heavy fish.
Yep. So I'm going to bring up the results while we're talking here because people can still talk as well. I overlay this hopefully on the screen. So if I do this right, so you can see here, this is the Richmond River results. Which one was I supposed to be on? Which one? Yeah, we started at Clarence. So I'll bring up Clarence. All right, so you can see here all the entries and half the field caught fish. And what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 catching a bag. So it's a bag of 2.
Yep, bag of 2.
Yep. So 7 people caught a bag. 1, 2, 3, 4 people caught a single fish, and the rest of the field had the dreaded donut. So
that was Grafton on the weekend. Yeah.
So that's great. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Clarence on the weekend. Sorry. So that's Grafton. So we'll talk about Grafton when we're on it. I've just clicked on the wrong button. So Harry Hardiman won it with a big bass of 1.18 kilos with a total bag weight of 1.73 over Declan James, which is cool for his highest placed tournament since coming through the ranks. So Declan comes second with a 1.57. Closely followed by big follower of the channel, Sean Ezzy, with a 1.52. Yourself with 1.43, but you had about half an hour, 45 minutes taken out of your day because you could go back and set up, of course. So maybe you could upgrade in that last half hour, but we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Matty Cameron, another great up-and-coming angler with a 1.43, and then Marcus, another bluefin fishing team member at 1.38. Michael, Luke Atkins, Tyson Everly, Tay Nagel, and Michael, now I don't know, I'll get this one right, Dirth. So with a really tiny one, but it's one better than not. So, that's the scores. Tell us why it fished so hard.
It was different. There were spots I went to that the fish were there, but they would spook very quickly. There was lots of catfish and brim around. Some cracking flathead caught. There was even a couple of people got a jewfish as well. But then further down towards Grafton, a couple of people that also fished that day that weren't in the comp did really well. So that's a river. These fish move around really quickly, and that we've had a lot of hot weather lately, and it's just started to have a few showers and cool down. So the water's cooling down. They're moving around. They're getting a bit more active. So that's fishing. Like
sure, but that's part and parcel of the electric series, isn't it? So for those people that are on the channel that aren't sure of how the electric series works, I mean. There's no petrol motors. There's no, you're running electric motors, and we've got some questions in there that we'll ask directly in a minute about, how far you get and what you get out of everything and what everyone's running. But in the sense of it, you're not allowed to use your petrol motor. You can enter the comp with a petrol motor on, depending on the venue. If the venue allows it, you can. You're just not allowed to use it. So you're only limited to distance. So for most of us, bass guys that have got the big motors on the back of our, running 30 minutes and getting 25, 30 Ks up the river is not an issue. But, for people that know graft, and for you to, from the start line, to say to get to the reef where the barge crosses over, How long would it take you an electric boat?
Yeah.
All day.
As he and his rocket ship might be able to get there with all his battery power that he's got, but as you said, that's the thing. Like, I couldn't get there on my batteries. Like, I stay comfortable in about a 6 kilometer radius. So the furthest I'll travel is 6Ks, and I know I can get back. Which to some people that's still a lot of water, but you could go 6Ks in the wrong direction.
That's true, and that's the river, and that's what I love about it. You talked about bycatch. You get all this bycatch. I like going to fish in the river rounds to, on pre-fish day. If I catch a few lizards or something like that, I'm going to have a feed of flathead that night. You don't get that in the ponds. We don't get that in the dam. So that's a bit of a downside to the dams is the bycatch is not there, but you are limited. And the other thing is too, if you make that call and go 3, 4, 5Ks up the river, and you go, oh shit, the tide's wrong, or I've done something wrong. It's not a point of you can just get in your big motor and power on the other way.
It's not a 10-minute run back up that way to go, oh yeah, I'm going to fish this bank now. You make that decision. You've got to commit to that decision. And if it doesn't work, you just got to swing for the fences and try and make something happen.
Yep, for sure. Now, we've got a couple of questions here. So before we go on to talk about the other event, so we'll give the big shout out to Harry for winning it. That's a really nice bass on the ABT website that he's holding up there. So who did the photos did a good job with him. But let's get into some questions. They're in there, so let's do them. We've got a couple of good ones that have come through. Aaron Hyde agrees with Luke. This is not really a question, it's a statement. Agrees with Luke. Bushgrove comp was really good weekend, so thumbs up. Kev Wild said, do you fish more in the deep or the shallow water? So break that down. That's a two-part question maybe.
Yep. So in the river, I'll start shallow. And then as the sun comes up, I'll move out to deeper or find deeper water snags. That's just me. I like to fish up in the shallows early morning, especially with these tidal ones. If the tide's up and flowing, I'm straight into that long grass, throwing frogs and any other sort of surface lure. But frogs at the moment have been really good because you can skip them right up into that grass and bring it out without getting snagged up.
Yeah. So can I ask there, just on Kevin's question, ask you a question? I really enjoyed watching Carl Jochimson's video on Okeechobee, where he was pitching a jig into this shit that we don't fish in Australia. Like, they do a lot of that lily reed grass fishing over there. Is that a technique that you've worked out that works really well in the river systems? When that tide comes up over that grass, you're throwing into that stuff that we wouldn't normally throw into?
Yeah. And like sometimes it's not even a frog. Like sometimes it's even just a little plastic, like very small profile, because as growing up fishing those banks, you would see fish in the back cruising around, busting up on jelly prawns and little bait fish. And it took not the smartest man in the shed, so it took me a little while to figure out what I can get up the back in there, throwing pompadours up there and spooking everything for about 10-meter radius because you jam your boat in there to retrieve it. So, but once I worked that out, that was a pretty good big fish finder for me.
Because, I mean, we don't tend to throw in the gnarly stuff enough in this country. I look at I follow fishing worldwide. I watch the guys over in Asia throw for snakehead and stuff like that, and they're thrown into the thickest of matted grass. And, like, we just get the shits with it. And I know down here, something that I've been really concentrating on in dams like my Whaler and the Gambie and whatnot is getting into that real shallow water and working on trying to get those fish in that shallow water to bite. But, Kev's was a two-part question, so we'll go back to the second part of that. So, yes, you fish early shallow. Now, a lot of people, I suppose, from my memory in the 10 years I've been river fishing through tournaments, I know the first year we went down to Richmond River with Bass Nation was the first tournament on a river for us. And nobody could catch him. Everyone was struggling. And then one of the guys went out deep with a ZX and jigged up a couple of little ones. And then all we did for the next day and a half was jigging blades out deeper. And it seemed to disappear for a little while there. But once again, it comes back. I've seen Sean post a photo up during the weekend of a ZX. And, it's something that you can't really ride off in the river, is it?
No, so I used to be hopeless at blades. I never used to pick them up. I thought they were $5-10 little money pits that you'd chuck down in the river and you do one hop and you snagged and it's gone. But now with the ZXs in the river, it's dynamite. Like I'll use a ZX up shallow and I'll bring it out to 12-15 meters in some of these holes and go to town. Like when they're on, you can get cricket scores in the river with these guys, and it's pretty fun.
Yep. Now, like everything, ZX is quite expensive. They're very popular. I know I've experimented a little bit. You can buy assist hooks through the ZX assist hooks. You can buy them nearly in all good tackle shops now anyway, but the Atomics Tricks bits through Frogley's are bloody awesome. I reckon they're a stronger string and a stronger hook. I use them a lot, and I actually use them on the cod as well. But you can, for those guys who can't afford to pay $25-30 for a blade, you can buy other blades and retrofit them with assist hooks.
Yeah, and turning things around. Yep.
But just make sure that blade is a really tight vibration in the sense of how you actually want it to work. I know a lot of blades are a big vibration, so fiddle with your point set where you tie it on to work on that. But I think the thing that makes a ZX so good is how tight that vibration is.
Yeah, and another thing is if you've got a pool or something, chuck it in there and have a look at your retrieve, and when you're flicking and that, you'll actually be surprised how much these things will move.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have active target. If you've got active target, you'll see it plain as day. You think you're just shaking it and the thing's coming 60 centimeters off the bottom. And you're going, oh, no wonder those fish are spooking. So that's just a little tip as well.
Yep, for sure. And that's definitely something I've learned with live sight. We've talked about on the show before. But, in the sense of how small you can move the rod tip to how far it'll move off the bottom is one tip. And the other tip on the swimming pool, because I use my swimming pool a lot, it is a saltwater pool.
Give it a rinse.
Make sure you're rinsing your lures before you put them back in the tackle box. You don't want to make that mistake. All right, awesome question. Thanks, Kevin. Let's keep going. Got that one. G'day, Danny. I've got to give Danny a call out all the time. He watches on YouTube, so his YouTube name comes up, Fish On, and I keep forgetting his first name, so give Danny the call out. He's always on watching. Rodney O'Sullivan's got an electric motor question here. So he wants to know what electric motor do you think is the fastest?
Great question. Bow mount would have to be the Ghost, the Lowrance Ghost. It's a beautiful machine. It really goes well. I personally don't have one. There's a couple of boys that do, and at the moment they're probably the best bow mount I've seen in a long time.
And I suppose to add to that, Beau, is too, they can run on 24 or 36 volts. So it doesn't matter what battery system you've got in your electric boat or in your boat at all. You can run them on either.
Yep.
But with lithium power these days and brushless motors and that, they run for a lot longer. But I do think in the bow mount scenario, the new Power Pole electric, which has been released last week at the trade show at the Bassmaster Classic, is going to give everything a run for its money. I think it looks pretty cool. I obviously haven't seen one in person, but it's going to be another option, but a very, very expensive one. They're talking 10 grand. 10 grand for electric motor.
Yeah. It does look like a little bit of a stripper pole with the thing. So I don't know. Maybe you could dance on it as well and get dollar bills to pay for it. But yeah.
I do think with that, from doing my research on the net like everyone else does, the power pole comes in 2 different models. So you can get one like the XI5, which is a lift up, or you can get a scissor lift. So you can do either. Foot pedals are compatible. They're compatible with your shallow water anchors and all that sort of thing. But they are pretty much bulletproof titanium shafts. They've got different sort of steering mechanisms that you can break nearly every tooth off the thing and they'll still run. They're talking about how tough they are, so they should last for years.
Yeah.
But in that sense too, 10 grand is 10 grand. I mean, you can buy an XI5 for sort of $2,000 these days. So and still does a great job. So that's the bow mounts. Let's talk about the rear ones. It sort of gets to where, depending on how many batteries you want to put in the boat, doesn't it?
That's exactly right. You can have all the power and juice you want in a motor, but if you don't have the batteries, you're going nowhere. And even some of the big brand name batteries, if you run them, some of them run at over 6,000 RPM, and on a 36 volt battery, that still chews some juice very quickly. So it's hard. So it's a question that's asked a lot. What's the fastest? But the answer is, how much battery do you have to contain that speed for a long period of time?
Yep, and there's a lot of work going on overseas through different companies and whatnot. The new Mercury release, what's the Avatar, looks really cool because you pull the battery out of the top of it. Runtime, Morgo put a video up the other week. I think it was 6 hours or something. He got out of the little detachable battery. You could buy multiple batteries and get further lengths. Yeah, 7 k's an hour or something like that.
Yeah, he averaged out about 7 k's an hour, and out of 2 batteries, he got about 10 kilometers. So
yeah,
that's not too bad. Like, if that motor is pushing that boat 7 kilometers an hour, that's my boat with both motors at full speed. So
yeah. And I suppose another downside to the electric comps, it's not a downside, but it's another thing you've got to work with. We talked about it with the Nationals last week, how they select what lures or kind of lures you can throw on each day. With the electric series, you've got battery choice, you've got motor choice, you've got distance that you can't do, you've got speeds that you can't do. You can make it as expensive as you want or as cheap as you want. But in the grand scheme of things, it makes decisions really important.
Yeah, and that's the fun part about it. It's another dimension of thinking that you don't usually have to do with fishing when you've got a petrol motor. Like, opportunities are endless. You can go anywhere, make the wrong decision, you can fly back and make the right one. But with this, if you could go 5 k's one way and find out everyone smashed them 2 k's the opposite direction, but that's an extra 7k run for you, and it's not doable. So, yeah, it's good. You live by the sword, you die by the sword in the electric series. It's eventful.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I'm just going to give Harry's inside. I'm going to give Harry the call to come out. We'll draw the postcode prize in a minute. So when Harry gets out here, we'll draw that. I'll look for another quick question to answer, and we'll go from there. Cameron Hall has written, "G'day lads, hope all is well and ready for the Open." Yes, I am. I can't wait. From a tournament director's point of view, in the 2 or 3 years, what would Beau like to see the Bass Electrics get to? Would you like to see a junior and a senior AOY, maybe a 2-day event? Where can you see the Bass Electric series going to? Because, it's obviously a point of difference, and you want to stay a point of difference. You don't want to just copy everyone else.
No, that's right. Look, I would love to see a junior AOY, but for that to happen, we would need more juniors to come for that to happen. And look, in 2 years' time, staying at the way that it's running, that could be more than likely. But until we see a few more juniors coming, that will be when that decision's made. Next year, I'd love to bring back a 2-day event. Maybe even split it up and copy how the Pro Series have done the double headers. Maybe we could do a double header with some of those closer Queensland dams up there as well. But that's all next year. We've got a big year to get through still with another 2 rounds and a grand final. So we'll see how that goes first, and we'll talk about next year later on in the year.
All right, Beau, we've got Harry here. You would have seen his head pop into the background. He loves dressing up. I'm going to put you into the green room, mate, and do this postcode prize. I'll bring you back in a minute. Righto, so we've put Beau into the green room. We've got postcode. So, Harry, who's the postcode winner for this week?
I had to hear, hang on. It is Peter Tapro 2680.
So say it again.
Peter Tapro
Taparel
2680.
2680. So, Peter, all you have to do is contact me through Corey's Dam Fishing. Send me a message with your address, your postal address, so I can post your prize pack out to you, which I believe was the Berkeley one, which is really cool. So that's as easy as it is. There's I don't know how much a packet of Berkeleys are these days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So probably $20 each, and $120 worth of lures. So awesome, Harry. Well, we'll see you again in about half an hour.
Okie dokie. Bye.
Right. See you soon. All right, we'll bring Beau back. Doom, doom. There you go. Harry's done his work. So we've got Peter Taparel. So Pete, send me a message through. As I said, I'm not going to chase anyone to give away stuff. I'm giving away stuff. People have donated to me. I'm donating it on to you. If you can't get in contact with me, I'll just keep doubling it up. So Pete, send me your address and I will post that pack out to you. There's some pretty cool lures in there too. I should have kept all of them and not told anyone. All right. I think Beau's frozen. No,
I'm here.
No, he's reading. Yeah. you weren't moving. I thought, oh no. All good. All right, we'll keep going through some questions because they keep coming. We've still got to talk about the last round or the first round, but we'll get to them because people are asking some really good questions, and we've done the Aaron Wayne Hyde. Here we go. Aaron said, "I'm only new to bass fishing. What's the best lure to use?"
Yeah, good question. Personally, when I first started out, I started out with a spinnerbait. It's a great lure. They're pretty snag resistant if you don't throw them too deep in. They're a nice, easy retrieve. Yeah, spinnerbait, surf lure, little cicada imitation. It doesn't matter too much, but those two lures will get you a lot of fish.
Yeah, for sure. I think the KISS principle on the river, I know we outthink ourselves. I've got a boat full of lures and I never really pull out. But, I mean, for me, Aaron, set yourself up with surface, subsurface, and something you can run along the bottom. So exactly what Beau was saying. I'd set yourself up with some frogs or something like that, reasonably cheap to replace if you get busted off. So you can throw some surface stuff with frogs early in the morning. You can cover a lot of ground with a Bassman spinnerbait or something like that. Maybe what are they? The DT8s or something like that.
DT8. One of the brats.
Yeah, one of the brats, something like that. Square bill, and then a blade, as we've been talking about earlier, and that'll cover all your bases. For sure. Awesome question. Thanks, Aaron. Next one, Rodney. Good question, but fair question. How many boats have not made it back this year due to flat batteries?
None yet.
None yet?
None yet.
And that's river rounds with tide, against tide. That's pretty good.
Yep. One person came close at Richmond, but he was close enough to to save himself. He couldn't stay out any longer, so he was back a little bit earlier. But yeah, no one's had to be rescued yet.
Yep, for sure. All right, Barry's got another question here. Can anyone enter as a non-boater? So I'll let you answer that because there's no real non-boater scenario in the ABT. So you can pretty much enter as a you've got to basically even contact us through the Bluefin fishing team page or contact ABT, and they'll do the ask around, see who's got a spot in their boat if they want you to jump in, that sort of thing, and just you fish for yourself, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much. So there's been a lot of people having a nonny, but really it's not a nonny. Like you're fishing against each other. So really it's just two mates going fishing. So it's a good experience. But yeah, Barry, there's you can do it that way. Or even on some of the posts that go out, you could put a shout out there. Some of the guys will answer. You might get lucky with someone. But yeah, they're a good bunch of guys, and usually if they got room, someone will share.
Yep, for sure. And it's there is a actual Facebook page now, ABT Electric or Electric Fishing or something like that on Facebook. But put a comment on there if you want to turn up to one of these comps. You don't have a setup. It's a good bunch, really, really good bunch of guys. There's no sheep stations going. As we said, it's $20 entry. And realistically, if you can get to the grand final, you're fishing for your own electric boat. That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, no, it's $20, and you could win a boat at the end of the year.
We've got more of a statement here. Paul wants to know, will Cameron be able to deliver in the Oz Open without his missus on the back of the boat carrying him? There might be a bit of an in-joke there, but I'll say it out aloud so everyone can have a bit of a laugh. Good one here. It's been asked, I think, before on the show. Barry's asked it, but about comps going to photo only or photo catch and release instead of live weigh-ins. I'll let you have your view, and I've got a fairly strong commitment on this one.
Yeah. I'm on the fence. I like the app, and I love a live weigh-in. So eventually politics are probably going to get their way and we'll lose the weigh-in, which is a devastation because you see how big it is in America and these guys can fill a stadium for a weigh-in. Yes, it's the biggest fishing contest in the world, but we have a lot of people that like to come to the weigh-ins, like to see how we've went. ABT is really good with how we handle our fish and how we release our fish. So, yeah, I'm on the fence. I like both, but look, I love going up with a full bag, chest puffed out. So, yeah, I'll let you finish that one, Cap.
That's all right. So, yes, for sure, there is the want more than the need to take fish up on the stage. I want to take fish up on the stage. I want to puff my chest out, and I want to show everyone what I caught. Is there a need to do it? No, there's not. And that's kind of been proven through the app-based process. I know connectivity is an issue in Australia, but when we did the ABT did the Brim Open last year, it was all app-based with, and then weigh-ins at the end and cameras and everything else. The following throughout the day far outweighs anyone watching the weigh-in. So I think the want versus the need is the issue with the fishermen themselves. The actual people that are logging on during the day to check a live scorecard is absolutely phenomenal. Now, we talked about this for the Nationals. The only thing that's missing from the Nationals is not a regular update of the scores. You don't get it until about 9 o'clock at night. And, Morgo's said figures on his podcast about how many people actually log in during the day to read the scores. And if we want to get sponsors, if we want to up prizes, we want to support sponsors, we want to get the sport out there, we're going to have to change as fishermen, I think. And, one way to do that is get the greenies off our back, all this fish kill bullshit that goes on and relocating fish and everything else like that. It's a small portion of what goes on in the world. But in general, these app-based, we're releasing the fish. hot days, it's healthier for them and everything else. There are some upsides, but if you're getting, 5 to 10,000 people view your stream on a Saturday to see whose scores are whose, or you get 1,000 people watching the weigh-in and you're feeling better about yourself, I'm not sure which is the best way to go going forward, because I want the weigh-in, but I don't really need it. So that's my view on that one. Good question, though. Thanks, Barry. Trent wants to know, do you change your ZX size in depth for a tough bite?
Yep. And my other one is I will change it in the river depending on how hard the tide is flowing. So yeah, my box has 35s, 40s, and 43s. And then I do have some other lighter brands, Gamokus, that I use as well. But yeah, no, I do change through the size, and also I look at the bait that they're around as well. Like if the prawns are small, I'm gonna try use as small as I can to imitate what they're eating, but then I've got to counter as well what the tide's doing and that as well. So that can sometimes clash, and sometimes you just have to come back to the spot when the tide's right, where you can imitate it right, and you'll get more strikes.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I know Trent's local down this way, fishes a lot of the cod stuff. Trent, the humble old ZX is dynamite on Murray cod. I've caught up to 900s on it. Haven't struck a metery on a ZX yet, but don't write them off for your cod stuff either. So we'll go into the next question, which leads into Trent's question. What's the best color for your ZXs? I know a lot of guys like now I'm shit on, my dyslexia stops me from remembering actual proper color names, but the pink one.
Yep, that's it. Pink's a great color, but I'll put it this way. I'll say the one that I don't like, and that's the red one. So all of them work. All of them catch fish. Anything that's got UV in it is unreal. It's sort of been a bit of a kicker for the rivers at the moment. If it's got UV, it's getting fish. So yeah, some reason I don't like the red one. The red one, and I don't catch fish on it. So yeah.
Excellent. Got another question here. Got them. They're coming in thick and fast now, so we'll keep pumping them through. Christy has said, any superstitions, like fishing superstitions or rituals before a comp? I know I have a few, but I know people that have to carry lucky charms, do certain things certain ways. Do you have any?
Yeah, first cast. You can't throw it into the spot at all. You do a stupid throw, swing it around your head and send it the random direction, but don't throw it where you want on the first cast.
And I'm surprised with the amount of fishermen that is a superstition for. And I know to the extent of watching Braden Shue, who was a guest on the show last week or the week before, he was the Daiwa Oz Open video that he did. He always threw a shit cast out to the right. So that's a big superstition with a lot of fishermen. So, I don't necessarily think that it's an issue catching a fish on your first cast, but it does play with a lot of fishermen's heads. So I've done it before, and it is a superstition for sure.
Yeah, I've done it for about 5 years now. My brother did at Wivenhoe Grand Final in the Electric Series on day 2, casted straight in with pink ZX. Did one hop down the hill and caught a 1.7 straight up, and that was the only fish he caught for day 2.
Yeah. No, for sure. All right. Luke wants to know, are you looking forward to fishing the Queensland or the upcoming Queensland dams? There's some pretty good venues there.
Cannot wait. I've never fished Lake McDonald, so Lake McDonald's the 7th of May. So yeah, I'll be sneaking up there for a few pre-fishes. It looked exciting there last year. So yeah, and Hins, I never fished hints before, except for the first time was last year in the Open. It ended up being really tough. It turned over just before we got there. But there's toga up in there, so I'm still waiting to catch that toga. So if there's dams that have got toga in there and bass, we'll probably fish them just so I can get this toga.
Yeah, get it off the back. And Wire along for the grand final. That is an insane fishery when it fires. It's one of the best. So some cool venues in Queensland coming up for sure. Now the New South Wales are out. Queensland are in. All right, we'll keep pumping through. We've only got a few minutes left to get through them all, so we'll do them as quickly as what we can. Barry's got another one here. He's looking at upgrading his rods. What do you most use? Spin combos that you use? Question is for both of you. I'll let you go first.
I have some 13 fishing. I have a V3. I have the Fate in a 1 to 3 kilo. And I also got my hands onto a little TT Black Mamba at the moment, which has proven to be a nice little rod. But a good combo that I have been using on Bill's boat when I've been going is the Atomic Arrow as well.
I think price point wise, those little atomic arrows are a bit of a catch.
Yeah,
a lot of people out there. We've got the March Madness sale on at the moment, so you've only got a few days to buy one if you're going to buy an arrows. But they are quite a good. I know Langers uses them as his charter rod, so everyone's not picking up his big expensive Millers. But
right.
if he's using them for charters, it means that they must be a good rod. Barry, answer from my end. Everyone knows at this stage that I'm sponsored through Bone Limb, and my rods are all bone rods. I've said it a million times on the show. It comes down to buy the best you can possibly afford. I have bone rods out there that I couldn't even tell you what the little numbers and everything. The Japanese, it's PE rated. They're not pounds. Different stuff that would confuse everyone. So I want to keep it as simple as what I can. Keep the question as simple as what I can. It depends on what you're fishing for. So if you're fishing for brim, you want 1 to 2, 1 to 3 kilo sticks, 2 to 4s, and then you step up and keep going up until you get yourself to a few heavy barra rods. Look at what you can afford. I love the Bone range. They're just the lightest rods on the market. You can throw them all day. Spin reels, I'm through Wilson. I'm with ATC for the reels, so never had a problem with them. So you've got to set your reel to what you're using at 2,500, 1,000, whatever you need to use. So it's a bit of a long-winded question that I'm flapping over a little bit. I'm quite happy to send you some model numbers and that to look at in a personal message. If you send me a personal message to Corey Sam Fishing, Barry, I will answer it in more depth with model numbers and stuff like that. But as I always say on the show, buy the best you can possibly afford. You don't have to go out and buy, $1,000 rod and reel combo to start with. That's for sure. All right, Jake. G'day, Jakey boy. Jake camps with us at All Around, so it was good to see him get to the Electric Series. And hello, Corey and Beau. Well done at running the great comp event. Young fella had a great time. He's looking forward to getting to another. So there you go, another father-son combo.
Yeah, and young Tucker walked away with the random key tag prize pack brought to us by Rapala. They're the sponsor for that. So each event we do a random key draw tag, and as long as you're there at the weigh-in supporting, so even if you didn't catch a fish, you still got a chance to win a prize. Cool hat, face buff, and a big bag of lures. There's some everything in there.
Yeah, everything in there. And that's awesome. Thanks to Rapala for doing that. I think it's really cool that, $20 entry gives you the option to even win a lucky door prize. We tend to base ourselves on how much the prize pool is and all of that in the fishing industry. But when we actually look at it and just go out there and enjoy yourself, good to see guys like Jake and his son going. That's awesome. I loved hearing the interview with Gussie at the Bassmaster Classic. Take your kids fishing, take your neighbours fishing. Fishing is just great. We all love it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I took my my girlfriend's boy fishing. So he did his first ABT event and he walked away with 10th place. So first event, got a badge. The smile's still on his face. He took it to school and showing all his friends. Yeah.
All right, we're going to pump through these because we've got only 6 or 7 questions left. We've still got to cover one series for the ABT stuff because we need to go through the scores and everything else.
Yep.
So we'll pump through these. Where was the next question? Kevin's asked, do you feel your fishing confidence has increased since winning the grand final?
Yeah, a little bit. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. Things came together really well that day. Brad had a plan. I'd fished that spot before. I knew what needed to be done. The fish were there. And, yeah, it gave me confidence in being able to not know what we were really doing and then getting there, understanding that I'd been there before, worked to the situation that I got and pulled away with the win. So, yeah, it was big for the confidence and just letting myself know that some decision making that you make is the right one, just to follow your gut and look what happens.
Yep, for sure. And I think, talking, we camped together that weekend at your place. We chatted about it. You had you had a preconceived idea of where you would have gone if you were boating, but you weren't. You were a co-boater, so you had to go where your boater was going to take you. And fortunately enough, he put you on the fish. But, that can go wrong. And that's really hard in your home waterway as a co-boater. To you want to go and do something else and they go somewhere else and it can really throw you. So it was good to keep your stuff together, make a decision and then clunk those fish, and you really clunked them. So that was really cool. All right, on to the next one. Paul Langley has asked, is there any plan to expand the series further south next year?
Sure. I've already got people messaging me telling me what they would like for next year. So, Paul, if you want to message me and talk up a spot down south to me, and that it could definitely be on the cards for next year.
Excellent. Windermere and for yellows, we're not doing bass down here. We're doing Windermere for yellows, and we'll do my whaler for cod in an electric series.
It'd be something different. It'd be good to see.
Oh, all right. Aaron's got a really good one here with the comps. Is there an age limit, as he has a couple of kids that are interested in fishing as well?
No, there's no age limit. There's an age limit on what your kid could fish by themselves in a boat, which would be 16. But if you're in the boat with them, there's no age limit.
No, and I've seen the young guys, and there's been a few young guys that have come up through the electric series that turned out to be really, really good fishermen. But they started in the electric series because they were fishing with Dad. It's a lot easier for Dad to go out and buy a little tinny, put an electric motor on it, and take the kids fishing. It's a lot more cost effective. I know with the ABT Bass Pros and stuff like that, you've got to be 16 to enter it. So, Harry can't come to a Bass Pro and fish as a co-boater in somebody else's boat because of the age limit. So, that's really cool. Good question, Aaron. Like that one. Sean said it's Colour 44 is doing it at the Rivers at the moment. So there you go. 440. Sorry, 44.
Yeah,
I'm
440.
Yep, 440. So as I said, I can't remember the colours and stuff like that. And Alion, right here. Are you looking forward to Lake McDonald round?
Yep. Looking forward to it. It looks really nice.
You answered that earlier. So get your last questions in. We're just going to go quickly over the results for which one did we've done, Clarence? So we're going to do Corokai. So I'm going to bring them up on the screen. If I get this all done. No, wrong one. There we go. Look at me go. I'm just a computer whiz. All right, so we're on there, and yeah, here we go, Richmond River. So Clint McDermott won it with 1.5 kilo bag. Tyson second, Harry again in the top three with 1.48, Joey Urquhart, but it was a massive field all the way down to 23 caught fish.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about while we're waiting for a few last questions to come in, tell us a little bit about the Richmond River Round. Where was it based out of?
So we started at Coraki there, put in at the boat ramp, and if you know Coraki, there's a little beach just before the caravan park there at the park. So it's always a nice spot there to run a comp. The fish were pretty spread out. As I said before, people went a fair way down, caught fish, blading on landslide banks in deeper water with set X's. I'm pretty sure it was 440 that did that as well for certain people. A couple of people stayed pretty close in between that kilometre and a half from the start point.
So I suppose just to butt in, Beau, that for the people that don't know the area, Coraki itself is at basically the junction of the Wilson and the Richmond River.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a great place especially for a river comp, and even better for an electric comp, because you got three ways to go. You can go up the Wilson River towards Lismore. You can go up the Richmond River to get away from the brackish water. You can go downstream. So you've got a really good spread at Coraki there. It is a great little spot if you are going for a social fish to base yourself out of that little park there at Coraki, and shoot wherever you want. Come back and have a pie. The pies are good at the bakery there, or you can have a sit down meal in the pub. So it's not too many places in Australia where you can just pull up and have a chicken palmy in a pot for lunch.
Yeah, no, it's good. And that was one of the reasons why we chose Coraki. It was because it had the three options. So if it was bad downriver with wind and everything, you could scoot up the Richmond and the Wilson to get away from that wind. But I think everyone did fish up, took the three options. But Clint McDermott was pretty lucky. He went up I think he went a kilometre up the Wilsons, caught a fish off a snag, came back to the point, and smacked his big fish on a little 2-inch Kitek.
Yeah, for sure. So Harry would have to be leading AOY at the moment too. I haven't looked up the AOY points with the first and the third.
Yeah, no, it's there's a few boys there that are pretty close. There'd be Harry, there'd be Sean, Ezzy, our very own Marcus. He'll be up there. He's had 2 top 10 finishes this year as well. Tyson Everly will be there.
We don't want to talk about Tyson.
Nah, we won't talk about him. That's
Hey, just to interrupt just for a second. Harry, once again, he's inside. Harry, can you come out, because we want to draw the second prize pack. Keep going, Beau.
Yep. And yeah, there's I think there's a couple more that are up there as well, but the next 2 Queensland rounds are going to be a good run and that. But Sean and Harry, it's going to be a good race, that's for sure.
For sure. So it's pretty tight at the top end, which is really cool. Looking forward to watching what's going on. I'm going to get Harry out to draw the second prize, and then we'll finish off. There's probably 2 or 3 questions that have come in late, so we'll answer them. But everyone's sort of waiting. We I've always said I'll go for an hour. We've just hit the hour mark. So this one's for the second prize pack here, which got really cool spider lure in it, some blades, a hard body, and some gulps. So, Harry, which question was it? Come in and let us know. I'll put you in the green room, Beau.
Yep.
Rightio.
Hello.
Everyone's here. So, which one have we got?
The one that was just recent, it was...
Oh, yes. There we go. You read it out.
From Aaron Wayne Hyde. Is that correct?
Yep.
With the comps, is there an age limit? As I have a couple kids that are interested in fishing as well.
Excellent, Aaron. So you are the winner of that pack there. I'm pretty sure you might have asked a question about lures earlier on in the night, so you got some lures. All you have to do is send me a message, Corey Sam Fishing, with your postal address, and I'll get them posted off this week to you. That's really cool. That's it, Harry. Nice work again. Everyone out there is obviously watching again and loves to catch up and check what you're doing. So, any news for them?
Any news?
I'm just throwing you on the spot here. None. Look at that. He's done mullet. I wish we could get the fish to react like that. Thanks, mate.
I love you all, but not in a romantic way.
I love you all, but not in a romantic way. There we go. All right. Thanks, mate. Thanks again for doing the draw. All right. Here's Beau back. Just checking to see those late questions. Aaron said thank you. There you go. So Aaron's going to bring his kids along, hopefully, to another one.
Unreal.
Kev's got a quick one here. We'll just finish off the questions to make sure we're polite to everyone. What would be the ideal baitcaster rod and reel combo for crankbaiting? So we're talking about crankbaiting. So this is a good one. This is a good question.
This is easy because I've specifically got this rod for this, and I'm looking forward to using it up at Somerset this year when ABT goes there. So it is the 13 fishing slide. So if no one doesn't know that, it's the grey reel with the orange handles. It looks $1 million and it casts $1 million. And for the rod, it is the Ian Miller Crank Freak. And I think it's in a 7'3", 7'3", I think I have it in. It's a very long rod, but with the slide, I can send crankbaits a country mile.
So that's a bait caster. That's the one with the switch, so you can switch it when you're fishing into the wind and against the wind, isn't it?
Yeah, little magnetic control, more, less. It's an unreal reel.
All right, just punching on through them. Sean, we answered this earlier about the 2-day events, next year's calendar. Put your questions in. We'll put them to Morgo and see what the answers come up with that one. Cameron, no, I won't be doing any pre-fishing. The 14 to 18-hour drive or whatever it is a bit of a off-putting, but hopefully I do love to catch up with you guys there. One of the best tackle stores in Australia. It's still, no, it's not the biggest anymore. They can't call it the biggest, can they?
No, I don't think it is the biggest anymore. I think a few other ones.
I think the BCF HQ up in Townsville, and now they've got the Anaconda.
That big Anaconda Super Center
down here. But in the way of tackle against the wall, I don't think anyone's got as many lures as Mo Tackle. So if you're ever in that Coffs Harbour area and you want to lose a couple of $1,000,
go talk to Cameron.
Yeah, go talk to Cameron because he'll put you on. I know, I think it would have been 3 years ago, called in there. He recognised me through the show and put me onto a nice little bite pattern. So I do thank you for that, Cameron. Yeah, there we go. 710. Cameron's saying about the.
710. Yeah, no, it's a big rod. Like, I've hit a few cowlings with it. That's for sure.
There you go. Cameron said biggest as far as tackle in one spot and still number one. There you go. So Mo Tackle it is. All right, we'll call it for that. Beau, thanks again for coming on. As per usual, as soon as we give the prizes away, the numbers start to drop off. I can see how many people are on there all night.
Yeah.
And as soon as we give that second lot of prize away, everyone drops off. So that's why we wait until the last bit to do it. I think we've covered every question in the list tonight, which is kind of unusual. We got to nearly everyone. We gave away $100 worth of lures again. You guys are doing a great job. The bluefin fishing team have taken on board the ABT Electric Series this year. So keep up the good work. don't forget, for all the girls out there, we are still going to be running a ladies boat competition. It'll be 2 years of your own boat. We're just setting the boat up at the moment. I know we've ordered the Lowrance Fish Finder. The electric motor's going on. It'll be on a trailer. It'll be fully registered. And hopefully in the next few weeks or so, we should have some photos of how that boat actually looks, and then we'll tell you how you can all enter to try and win that boat for 2 years' use. So, yeah, looking forward to that, and keep an eye out. We might be running a boat raffle as well, so it might be a chance to buy some tickets. I'll be flogging them off on this show for sure. Anything else you want to add, Beau, before we go?
No, just if you are thinking about coming to do the electric series, don't hesitate to send a message to the Bluefin fishing team or myself. We'll get back to you pretty quickly. And no, thanks for having me tonight, guys.
No, that's awesome. All right, guys, we're going to say out for now. As I said, we cut it off at the hour. People have got stuff to do, kids to put to bed. Thank you, everyone, for watching again. We will be back next week. Hopefully staying on the theme of talking tournament fishing or how the tournaments are run, what sort of tournaments are. I hope to really, because we've got the Oz Open coming up in a few weeks. I'm still working on a few people, but I might try and get somebody to talk about the OBT Bass Oz Open, but we'll see how we go next week. Catch us